My memories, my memories are very confused. There's much doubt as to where they began. For at times I feel appalling vistas of years stretching behind me, while at other times it feels as if the present moment were an isolated point in gray, formless infinity. I'm not even certain how I'm communicating this message. Whilst I know I'm speaking, I have a vague impression that some strange, perhaps terrible meditation, mediation, will be needed to bear what I have to say to the points of where I wish to be heard. My identity, too, is bewilderingly cloudy. I seem to have suffered a great shock. Perhaps something utterly monstrous outgrowth of my cycles of unique and incredible experience. All cycles of experience, of course, all stem from that worm-riddled book. I remember where I found it, in a dimly lit place, a dimly lighted place near the black oily river where the mists always swirl. That place was very old, and the ceiling-high shelves full of rotting volumes reached back endlessly through the windows, in rooms and alcoves. There were, besides, great formless heaps of books on the floor and in crude bins. And it was in one of these heaps that I found the thing. I never learned its title. Its early pages were missing, but it fell open towards the end, and it gave me a glimpse of something which sent my senses reeling. There was a formula, a sort of list of things to say and do, which I recognized as something black and forbidden, something which I had read before in furtive paragraphs of mixed abhorrence and fascination penned by those strange ancient delvers into the universe's guarded secrets whose decaying texts I love to absorb. It was a key, a guide to certain gateways and transitions of which mystics have dreamed and whispered since the race was young, and which will lead to freedoms and discoveries beyond the three dimensions and realms of life and matter that we know. Not for centuries had any man recalled its vital substance or know where to find it, but this book was very old indeed. No printing press, but the hand of some half-crazed monk had traced these ominous Latin phrases in uncials of awesome antiquity. I remember how the old man leered and tittered and made a curious sign with his hand when I bore it away. He refused to take pay for it, and only long afterward did I guess why. As I hurried home through those narrow, winding, mist-choked, butterfly streets, I had a frightful impression of being stealthily followed by a soft paddling feet. The century-tottering houses on both sides seemed alive with a fresh and morbid malignity. As if some hitherto channel of evil understanding had abruptly been opened. I thought that those walls and overhanging gables of mildewed brick and fungus plaster and timber, with fishy eye-like diamond-paned windows that leered, could hardly desist from advancing and crushing me. Yet I had only read the least fragment of that blasphemous room before closing the book. and bringing it away. I remember how I read the book at last. White-faced and locked in the attic still. The attic room which I had long devoted to strange searchings. The great house was very still, for I had not gone up until after midnight. I think I had a family then. Though the details were very uncertain, I know that there were many servants. Just what the year was I cannot say, for since then I have known many ages and dimensions, and have all notions of time dissolved and refashioned. It was by the light of the candles that I read. I recall the relentless dripping of the wax, and there were chimes that came every now and then from distant belfries. I seemed to keep track of those chimes with a peculiar intentness, as if I'd feared to hear some remote intruding note among them. Then came the first scratching and fumbling of the dormer window that looked out high above the other roofs of the city. It came as I droned aloud at the 9th verse of that primal lay, and I knew amid my shudders what it meant. For he who passes the gateways will always win a shadow, and never again can he be alone. I had evoked, and the book had indeed all I had suspected. That night I had passed through the gateway into a vortex of time, twisted time and vision, and when morning found me in the attic room I saw on those walls and shelves and fittings that which I had never seen before. Nor could I ever after see the world as I had known it, mixed with the present scene, with always a little bit of the past, always a little bit of the future, and with every once familiar object loomed alien in the new perspective brought by my widened sight. From then on I walked in a fantastic dream of unknown and half-known shapes, and with each new gateway crossed, the less plainly could I recognize the things of the narrow sphere to which I had so long been bound. What I saw about me, none else saw. And I grew doubly silent and aloof, lest I be thought mad. Dogs had a fear of me, for they felt the outside shadow which had never left my side. But still I read more. And hidden, forgotten books and scrolls to which my new vision led me, and pushed through fresh gateways of space and being and life patterns toward the core of the unknown cosmos. I remember the night I made the 5 concentric circles of fire on the floor. And brought in the innermost one, chanting that monstrous litany the messenger from Tartary had brought. The walls had melted away, and I was swept by a black wind through gulfs of fathomless gray. With the needle-like pinnacles and unknown mountains below me. After a while, there was utter blackness, and then the light of myriads stars forming strange, alien constellations. Finally, I see a green-lit plain far below me, and discerned on it the twisted towers of a city, built in no fashion I'd ever known or read of or dreamt of. As I floated closer to that city, I saw a great square building of stone in an open space. I felt a hideous fear clutching at me. I screamed and struggled, and after a blankness, I was again in my attic room, sprawled flat over the 5 phosphorescent circles on the floor. In that night's wandering, there was no more strangeness than in many former nights' wandering, but there was more of terror because I knew I was closer to those outside gulfs and worlds than I had ever known before. Thereafter, I was more cautious with my incantations, for I had no wish be cut off from my body and from the earth, an unknown business, whence I could never return.